There are moments in life when everything seems lost. You feel defeated. The world closes in. The people you trusted vanish. The plans you made crumble before your eyes. And you begin to believe it's over. But let me tell you the truth. You can lose the battle and still win the war. You see, defeat is not the end. It is a teacher, a mirror, a forge. It breaks the weak parts of you so the strong parts can be reborn. Some of the greatest victories in history began with what looked like failure. What people called the end was simply a chapter, a plot twist, a test of character, and only those with burning desire, those who refused to bow to fear, turned their loss into legend. You are not defeated when you lose. You are defeated only when you quit. Because deep inside you, beyond the doubt, beyond the fear, beyond the pain, there is something unbreakable, something called will. Will is invisible. It cannot be measured, but it moves mountains. It builds empires. It rewrites stories. It is the force that whispers in your darkest hour, you are not done. Every so-called failure is a message from destiny asking you, do you want it bad enough? Will you get back up? Will you rise when others sit? Will you see the treasure inside the trial? Success does not belong to the lucky. It belongs to the relentless. The truth is, you never truly lose. You either learn or you win, sometimes both. So when life knocks you down, smile. Why? Because now the fire has begun. The weak version of you is gone, and the stronger version is on the rise. Let the world count you out. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Because soon they'll watch you rise and they won't know how you did it. But you'll know. You were lost but won. In the journey of life, every one of us will face setbacks. There will be moments when you give your best effort, pour your heart into your goal, invest your time, energy, and hope, and still come up short. You may experience rejection, financial loss, betrayal, or failure so deep it shakes your very identity. But understand this, defeat is not final unless you accept it as final. Temporary defeat is a natural part of success. It is life's way of testing your resolve, your courage, and your desire. The person who views defeat as the end has already lost. But the one who understands that every failure is merely feedback, a signal, not a sentence, has already begun to win. When you face defeat, the world may try to label you failure, loser, not good enough. But those are only labels, not truth. Truth lives in your response, because defeat is never about what happened to you. It's about what you do next. You may be knocked down, but you're never out unless you choose to stay there. The most successful people in history are not those who had perfect paths. They are the ones who were willing to keep going long after most people would have quit. Why? Because they understood that defeat is temporary. It is a detour, not a dead end. The real danger lies not in failing, but in giving up the fight. When you quit, you cut yourself off from possibility. You silence the voice of your potential. You slam the door on every lesson that defeat was trying to teach you. You say to life, I am not willing to become more than I am. And that, my friend, is the only real loss. Quitting is permanent because it kills growth. It turns temporary pain into a permanent regret. It makes a passing moment into a lifelong memory of what could have been. Quitting keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. And you were not made to be small. Every champion, every innovator, every leader has felt the sting of failure. They have stood in the same place. You may be standing now, tired, frustrated, on the edge of giving up. But they chose to keep going. They chose to see defeat as a stepping stone, not a gravestone. Your dreams are waiting behind your persistence. Your strength is hiding behind your endurance. You will never know how far you can go until you refuse to stop. And when you keep going, something incredible happens. The very defeat that tried to break you becomes the fuel that shapes you. So the next time you face loss, hear this truth echo in your soul. Defeat is not the enemy. It is the test. And as long as you do not quit, you cannot be beaten. You may be delayed, but not denied. You may feel pain, but you are not powerless. As long as you rise after every fall, success is not a matter of if, but when. You were never meant to surrender to circumstances. You were meant to master them. You were born with the ability to climb higher, dig deeper, and push forward. No matter how many times you fall, defeat is temporary. Quitting is forever. Choose to rise. Choose to continue. Choose to win. Adversity is not the enemy. It is not a curse, nor a punishment, nor a sign that you're off course. Adversity is the gateway. It is life's greatest catalyst, awakening strength you didn't know you had, building within you the kind of character that cannot be bought, borrowed, or inherited, only earned. It is easy to be strong when life flows smoothly, when everything works in your favor, when people support you, when doors open on the first knock. But those moments do not shape greatness. They do not test resolve. They do not build muscle. Mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, true power lies dormant inside you. Power to endure, to rise, to lead, to rebuild from ashes. But like gold, it must be refined. Like a sword, it must be forged in fire. And that fire is adversity. You see, comfort makes you complacent, but struggle makes you sharp. It forces you to grow beyond your limits. When you face adversity, you are being given an invitation, not to collapse, but to evolve. You are being asked, how bad do you want it? What are you really made of? Will you let this break you or build you? In every challenge, there is an equal opportunity, but you must be willing to see it. You must stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to unlock in me? Because every storm has a lesson. Every hardship has a hidden treasure, but that treasure is only found by those who refuse to run, refuse to hide, and refuse to back down. Some of the most powerful people this world has ever known didn't become great in ease. They became great in adversity, not because they wanted the pain, but because they embraced the process, because in every dark moment they found a new light within themselves. And you can too. Maybe life has hit you hard. Maybe you've lost things you thought you'd always have. Maybe the path you were walking suddenly disappeared beneath your feet. That pain you feel is real, but so is your power. Inside you is a version of yourself that adversity is trying to bring forward, a version of you that thinks clearer, stands taller, and moves bolder. But that version only comes out when the pressure is on, when the comfort is gone, when all you have left is faith and fire. You will not discover your strength by avoiding adversity. You will discover it by walking through it with your head high and your heart on fire. You will learn that you can take hits and keep moving, that you can lose things and still rise, that you can be shaken but not shattered. This is how warriors are made, not in ease, but in the furnace of resistance. And you, whether you realize it or not, are a warrior. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every battle you faced alone, none of it was wasted. All of it was preparing you, strengthening you, awakening you. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are becoming. Let adversity do its work. Let it mold you, test you, reveal you, and then let it elevate you. Because once you've walked through the fire and found yourself still standing, you will never again doubt what you're capable of, and the world will never again be able to limit what you can become. Adversity doesn't weaken you. It introduces you to the strongest version of yourself. Every success that has ever been achieved, every victory that has ever been won, began not in the world, but in the mind. The battlefield of life is not first fought with the hands, with money, with status, or even with opportunity. It is fought with thought, with belief, with the clarity and certainty of one's own vision. Before a single step is taken, before the crowd applauds, before any recognition or result appears, there must be a decision made in silence, often in solitude, deep within the mind of the one who refuses to settle. That is where true victory is born. Most people look to the outside for answers. They wait for perfect timing, for someone to give them permission, for circumstances to align. But the person who wins does not wait. They choose. They decide. They see the outcome long before it appears, and they hold on to that vision with unwavering faith. Your mind is the control center of your life. It is the command post. The thoughts you allow to live there, they determine the limits of your actions. If you believe you are weak, you will never act with strength. If you believe success is impossible, you will sabotage every attempt. But if you believe, truly believe, that what you desire is already on its way to you, then you will think, speak, act, and live as if it were already yours. And life will eventually reflect that belief. Everything begins with belief. You must see yourself winning, even when you're surrounded by loss. You must hear your name being called in victory when all others are doubting you. You must carry a picture in your mind of the life you were born to live until it becomes more real to you than your current situation. The world doesn't shape the mind shapes the world. If your inner world is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, then that is what your outer world will reflect. But if your inner world is filled with clarity, intention, and absolute conviction, then the world has no choice but to eventually bend to that will. People ask, "What if I fail?" That question comes from the wrong place. The better question is, "What if I never believe?" Because failure is not falling down. Failure is not even losing. Real failure is living a life beneath your potential simply because you did not believe you could rise above your current conditions. You don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need everyone to understand your dream. You don't need a long list of advantages. You need one thing, the ability to see beyond what is into what can be, and the courage to act on that vision daily. Every champion, every innovator, every leader started with nothing more than a thought. But they nurtured that thought. They protected it. They focused on it so clearly and so consistently that the world eventually had to catch up. You have that same power. You can begin today. You can choose right now to form a picture in your mind of the success you desire, of the peace, the power, the impact you were created for. Hold that picture, water it with belief, speak it with confidence, act on it without hesitation. And when the world tells you it's not possible, smile, because you've already seen the outcome in your mind. And once something is seen in the mind, it cannot be unseen. It is already yours. The only question is, will you believe it long enough for it to arrive? Loss is a word most people fear. It carries pain, disappointment, and the sting of something once held but now gone. Whether it's a lost opportunity, a broken relationship, a failed business, or a personal fall, the immediate reaction is grief, followed by the feeling that something valuable has been taken away, maybe forever. But loss is not the final word. It is not the end of the story. What most never realize is this: every loss carries with it the seed of something greater, not just recovery, but advancement. Not just healing, but transformation. If you're willing to look deeper than the pain, beyond the emotion, you will find something life, changing the blueprint for your next and better beginning. In the soil of loss is buried wisdom, and wisdom, when applied, becomes power. Most people never find that seed because they are too focused on what they lost. They stare at the closed door so long they miss the new one opening just a few feet away. They let their identity become wrapped up in what is no longer present, instead of who they are becoming through the experience. When you lose something, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Because it's always trying to teach you something. Every fall is feedback. Every failure is direction. Every disappointment carries the potential for deeper strength, clearer vision, and greater purpose. You may not see it at first, but it's there. Think of it like a seed planted in the ground. From the surface, it looks like it's gone, buried, invisible, forgotten. But underground, something powerful is happening. The shell breaks, roots begin to form, and life pushes its way up through the dirt. What looked like death was actually the beginning of growth. So it is with you. What you thought was your end could very well be the beginning of the greatest chapter of your life. but only if you trust the process. Only if you keep showing up, learning, listening, and reaching for the lesson within the loss. Loss is often life's way of creating space for something greater. You didn't lose that job. You gained freedom to find the one aligned with your purpose. You didn't lose that relationship. You made room to discover your own identity and strength. You didn't lose that opportunity. You were being redirected to one more fitting for the real you. But the greater win doesn't come automatically. It comes to those who remain aware, who stay present, and who dare to ask, where is the seed in this? What can I build now that I couldn't build before? Who can I become because of this? Not in spite of it. The seed of a greater win is not just about results. It's about your becoming. That seed may not always lead you to more money, more applause, or a bigger stage. Sometimes it leads you to inner peace, deeper confidence, sharper discernment, or the unshakable knowledge that you can handle anything life throws your way. That is a greater win than most people ever know. You are not defined by what you lost. You are defined by what you do with the loss. You can bury it and forget it, or you can plant it and grow from it. The choice is always yours. So don't resent your losses. Study them, respect them, use them. Because one day you will look back and realize the thing you thought broke you actually built you. The chapter you wanted to skip became the foundation of your strength. The loss you feared most gave birth to the version of you that was always meant to rise. Every loss holds the seed of a greater win. The question is, will you let it grow?